But we have teamed up with the friends of Hilbre Island to show you what you can see. But first, we need to know the guidelines for getting to the island without getting your feet wet, or indeed your head wet.
Well, making sure you know what the times are, what time the tides are, because it takes a while to get across, and you can always find that information, but it's 3 hours from after the high tide at West Kirby, it's safe to go out.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back 3 hours before the next high tide.
Someone of significant note has actually lived on the island. We met up with David Gregson, the chair of the Friends of Hilbre, to tell us more.
Hi, I'm Dave Gregson. I'm the chair of the Friends of Hilbre. Okay, I'm stood outside Telegraph House. This was originally the place where the telegraph master and his family lived in the 1800s.
Now, how do you know what time the high tides are? You can find that online. If you Google it, you'll find various sources of the tides. But the safest, when you get to the edge of the land and you have to get into the shore, there's a whacking great notice board with the instructions given in very plain English. So that's your last check before you start off. The only safe recommended route is from West Kirby. You may come across people who come up from Hoylake. They make it, but it's more risky. So from West Kirby, and again the route is shown. You go straight out from the beginning to the Little Eye, hardly an island at all, it's just a bit of rock. You go round the far side of that, and it's more or less a straight line to Middle Eye. You can go round that on the shore. It's also possible to go up the steps and along the top of it and down again, and then you come to the south end of Hilbre safely. But that's the only recommended route.
And the same way back.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's about 2 miles.
You might be interested to know that a little bit later on, famous crime writer Anne Cleves lived here with her husband Tim. It was when she was first married. She used to go to Liverpool University, and she lived on the island for 4 years, which was when she started doing her writing. Okay, we're pleased to say, as the Friends of Hilbre, that Anne has now become our patron. Okay, so we're really pleased about that.
The telegraph station was part of a communication system using a system of flags to send messages from Holyhead on the far west coast of Wales to Liverpool, situated beyond the Wirral shores on the other side of the River Mersey. This ingenious method we have covered on another video. Some of the visitors to the island do actually arrive by sea though, but to see them today we needed some serious lens power. Hi there, so there are seals that you can see off the island. What kind of seals are they?
These are grey Atlantic seals. We have quite a large colony. At the moment we've got over 100 out there. We have had many more. We've had several hundreds out there on the sandbank. This is where they come to molt and rest before they go to breed and give birth in other areas, usually rocky coastal sheltered areas around the country.
So you have a museum on the island. What kind of things do you have in there, particularly with these dinosaur artifacts?
Well, the only bit of dinosaur we've got is 2 footprints, a forepaw and a rear paw, which fell out in 1987. Was a rock fall at the south end of the island there. You can see some rocks that have fallen out, but this particular rock was special. And it caused quite a hoo-ha in the archaeological world, apparently. But there's a remake of it, a reconstruction of the imagined dinosaur in Liverpool Museum. You can see an example of how they think it would have looked. And it's there, you can see it in that building there. That's the boymaster's workshop, where he used to repair the buoys. Is that clear? Oh no, the safety buoys. But don't forget, we're talking about, not like we see them today, with lights on the top and metal. These are big wooden things, big, awkward things, to mark the safe shipping routes. And he would go around regularly and check these and bring them up here, behind us, down there, bring them up onto the land and into his workshop, and he would repair them. He presumably used to make them, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought of that. But he would repair them in there, and then take them back and put them in situ out in the sea. You can see a few other mementos in there from bits that the families who've been on the island for years have put all kinds of things in there.
So any visitors to the island, will they need the binoculars in order to see them, or do they come up closer, especially around high tide?
You'll often see them in the sea at high tide. There's nowhere else for them to go. The sandbank is completely covered twice a day, and that is when they dive off and feed. This is a very rich area for their feeding. It's like a rolling buffet for the resting seals, and it's very important that they rest and molt and feed over these summer and spring months, because during autumn, winter is when they need to breed and give birth, and they really need those calories over that period of time in order for the pups to survive, and then they come back in a loose colony and start to repopulate the sandbanks again between spring and over summer.
So with the tide being twice a day, they get fresh food just coming in and out every day?
That's where all the fresh food comes rolling past their bedroom door, and they can feed up happily there. And then of course twice a day the tide will just take them off the sandbank and off they go. They have to swim then. They can rest in the water, they can bottle, which is heads up, and you'll see them bottling around the island quite a lot, because as you can imagine, when they're not on the sandbank, there's a lot of seals in the water. So you should be able to spot them, and they're very curious animals. So if you are watching them, as people often do with binoculars from particularly the bottom at the lifeboat station on Hilbre Island, you'll often see like a semicircle of seals watching a semicircle of people. It's delightful.
The north end of the island has a different feel on the top, with the grass turning to the natural sandstone red, exposed to the sea in the north and the west. The old lifeboat station on Hilbre was built in 1839 and remained in service until 1939, when the introduction of mechanical tractors meant that the carriage-based Hoylake boat could be launched at all states of the tide.